Christ is formed in me. Hallelujah. I live my life in remembrance. Hallelujah. Your promise I won't forget. If ever I should lose my way, if ever I deny your grace, remind me of the price you paid. Hallelujah. I live in remembrance. You've been so, so good to me. You've been so, so good to me. Oh, to think where I would be if not for you, if not for you. You've been so, so good to me. You've been so, so good to me. Oh, to think where I would be if not for you, if not for you. As far as heights reach from the depths, as far as the east is from the west, so far your grace has carried me. Until I see you face to face, until at last I've won my race, remind me I'm not finished yet. Hallelujah. 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 I live in remembrance.
Because of the Lord's faithful love, we do not perish, for his mercies never end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will put my hope in him. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 to 24. Our God, the Father in heaven, he is faithful. Prophet Jeremiah wrote the book of Lamentations. And as you may have guessed from the word lament, it is about Jeremiah's expression of his sadness and brokenness about the destruction of his country, Judah. For hundreds of years in the Old Testament, Israelites betrayed God and served idols and other false gods of other nations. God repeatedly told them to come back, yet they continued their despicable sin against God. And God took the last resort and destroyed both Israel and Judah through Assyria and Babylon. Prophet Jeremiah was observing the destruction of the country, and he was utterly heartbroken. But at the same time, he remembered God's promise. He wrote in Jeremiah chapter 33, verse 6 through 8, "Nevertheless, I will bring health and healing to it. I will heal my people and will let them enjoy abundant peace and security. I will bring Judah and Israel back from captivity and will rebuild them as they were before. I will cleanse them from all the sin they have committed against me, and I will forgive all their sins and rebellion against me." Jeremiah trusted in God's faithfulness. I believe he was crying when he was writing this poem. I believe that the parchment that he was writing this poem on had smudges of his tears. He was extremely heartbroken. Yet he knew he could trust in God to keep his promise. And he's saying, "Your mercies never end. They are new every morning. Oh, great is your faithfulness. They lived the next 70 years as slaves. They were persecuted, they were discriminated against, they were treated as someone's property. But just as God promised, they were restored after 70 years of captivity. What a dramatic turn of events. God definitely showed His faithfulness to His people. But our lives aren't as dramatic as that of Israelites, right? Let me introduce you to a person named Thomas Chisholm. He was the writer of a well-known hymn called "Great is Thy Faithfulness." The song title may suggest that the author might be telling a dramatic story like that of the Israelites. But he lived an ordinary life. He started his professional career as a teacher at the age of 16. I guess he was a brilliant individual. And then he became a newspaper editor, and then he worked as an insurance agent, and after that he became a pastor. After he served as a pastor, he retired due to a poor health and eventually passed away in 1960. His life was not that dramatic. In a way, he did not have that successful of life. He didn't accomplish anything notably great. He had a poor health all his life and never really made a dramatic recovery. He went from a job to another job, and as a pastor, he didn't have that great of a story. No great revival happened during his ministry, nor had he great number of prayers answered like George Mueller. This is what he wrote about his life, and I quote, "My income has not been large at any time due to impaired health in the earlier years, which has followed me until now. Although I must not fail to record here the unfailing faithfulness of a covenant-keeping God, that He has given me many wonderful displays of His providing care, for which I am filled with astonishing gratefulness." He lived an ordinary life and struggled in his health and in his finances. But he understood this one thing: God is faithful. The chorus of the song that he wrote goes like this: "Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me." So although he lived an ordinary life, and although he struggled throughout his life without having any notable breakthroughs or miracles, just the fact that he was able to keep his faith in God proved that God is faithful. One time I led a youth retreat in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The retreat center was being operated by a Korean pastor, and the local ladies would volunteer to come to serve delicious meals to the youth students and the pastors and the staff. They were just harmonies and ajumas from the neighborhood. I was so touched and I was so thankful that they gladly spent their own time and money to serve like 100 people. And then I realized something. The old ladies who were there, cooking for the kids that never have met, were the proofs of God's faithfulness. Our parents and our grandparents who have kept their faith until now are the proofs of God's faithfulness. Their lives may have been dramatic or maybe just ordinary, but the fact that they still kept their faith in Jesus is a sure proof that God keeps His promise. Whether you live a dramatic life today or an ordinary life, same routine over and over, the greatest blessing is still knowing and still believing that our God, the Father in heaven, is a faithful God. He is a promise-keeping God. He is a merciful God, and His mercies are new every morning. We can count on Him to be there every day, walking with us, leading us and guiding us and correcting us, even if we ever go astray. So next time you're with your parents or your grandparents or even church elders and deacons, thank them for being the living proofs of God's faithfulness. And it is my sincere prayer that you too become the living proofs of God's faithfulness. So why don't you join us in singing "Great is Thy Faithfulness"? Praise